Hey y'all, thank y'all for tuning into this episode of Heart of the South Outdoors. We're glad y'all came along and decided to watch our little show here. So today's show is going to be just a little bit different. It's kind of going to be maybe almost kind of podcast format. Might try to throw it up here on the air before too long. But what I'm going to be talking about is what camera's best for you. A lot of people want to film their hunts. I'm one of them that likes to film my hunts. I've been filming them for a long time, probably, at least since this channel started. So it's 2017, I think. Probably about 2017 or 2018 is really when I kind of got into it and started going hardcore after it. So a lot of people wonder, like, what camera do I need to actually like get started into filming? My response would be the one that you got. So to say the one that everybody has, a smartphone. Everybody has a smartphone, and majority of smartphones nowadays can take excellent 4K, 60 frames a second. Some of them shoot 120 frames a second, which is more than adequate to be able to film your hunt. I've recorded some little B-roll and stuff on my phone before, and it turns out very well. So if you've got a good smartphone, use it. You can get you a camera arm. Fourth Arrow makes a really nice little mobile camera arm that you can take, and it just clamps right on your phone, and the other side goes onto the tree, and is perfect for filming your hunts with your phone. Another option that you could possibly look into is the old GoPro. How many of y'all get in focus? Stop focusing on my face. There we go. The old trusty GoPro. How many of y'all have a GoPro? I'm sure at least 75% of y'all watching this, maybe 80, 90% have had a GoPro, used a GoPro, and you can get really good footage with a GoPro as long as you're not shooting long range. If you're archery hunting, GoPros make jam up for even just walking through the woods, having it held out in front of you. It makes excellent footage for that. I used this one this past year a couple times. Time lapses. If you want good time lapse, get you a GoPro, because you can set this thing up. You can control it from your phone. You can set it up another tree over, just to kind of watch you as you're sitting there in a tree. I don't have one on me, but a lot of people use the little handy cams like the Canon VIX. I don't even know what number they're up to right now, but you can get one of those for $200-300 if you're not looking to break the bank, but you want a decent camera to actually go out and try to capture your hunts. I guess you can kind of think like price range we're starting off. The Canon VIX is going to be kind of at the bottom, and then your GoPro is going to be like a step above that. Then you got your smartphone, which everybody pays at least $1,000 for a smartphone nowadays. So you got those, and then you have your little bit more professional type of camera or camcorders, which those normally range anywhere from, I don't know, 12, 13, 1400 bucks on up to $5,000-6,000, which I'm sure most of y'all cannot afford that. Look into, if you just want to start off and keep it cheap, look at the little Canon handy cams. They are excellent. That's what I ran for my first couple seasons, and I got deer kills on them. Trying to think what else. Mainly hunting deer on them, and a good sized buck I shot, killed or had it caught it on that camera. Fish recorded me shoot several does with the old handy cam, and they still work. He still uses a handy cam, matter of fact, and I tell you what, it gets the job done. So there's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, you've got your more professional handy cams. I don't know the exact models and stuff of them, but like I said, they range anywhere from about $1,400-1,500 to on up to several $1,000s. And that's when you're starting to cross over into a little bit larger sensors, which if you're a snob like me, you want low light performance. And I'll get to that later, because if you're looking for, well, like I said, I'll get to that later. With a smaller, more cheaper camera, the sensors are not near, like the sensor is not near sensitive to light. And that's one thing you want to take into consideration, especially for hunting. I know a lot of times those deer like to come in right there at zero dark 30. So you kind of have something a little bit better just to be able to really capture that light when it is almost dark. So, like I said, your handy cams, they're gonna have a smaller sensor, so they're not gonna be good. They'll work in some low light, but a lot of times about sunset and a few minutes after is about your maximum use for those. So your more professional handy cam or camcorders, they're more camcorders, but they have, most of them either run a CMOS sensor or a 1-inch sensor. So your sensor, you're going from like a little itty bitty sensor about half an inch wide up to a 1-inch sensor. So those pixels are bigger, so therefore they let more light in when you're in that low light situation. And there's a whole rabbit trail I can go down when it comes to low light, when it comes to aperture, your ISO, and your pixels as well. We're going to try to stick on the cameras for right now. So, like I said, your camcorders that are more professional, they got the bigger sensor, which in turn has better low light sensitivity. And like I said, for hunters, that's imperative to have a decent low light sensitive camera. And then you've got your mirrorless and your mirrored cameras, or DSLRs. Used to, everybody was shooting with DSLR. Now things kind of transitioned from DSLR on over to mirrorless. The nice things about DSLRs and mirrorlesses is you have the options to swap lenses, and you can run a whole gambit of lenses. You can run ones with big apertures, little apertures, zoom lenses, primes. I mean, there's no end to what you can do with a mirrorless or a DSLR. And one nice thing about DSLR is that a lot of times they do have a little bit bigger sensor than your handy cams. So even your like your Canon Rebel T6s and T6Is, T7s, even though those are kind of a basic DSLR entry, you can still get very decent 1080p video out of those, and they don't cost a whole lot. The thing you can do, since the DSLR is kind of on the out, is you can buy mirror or DSLR pattern lenses a lot cheaper than you can buy mirrorless lenses. So that could be an option you can take. One thing, if you do get one of those Canons, make sure it has a headphone jack, or not headphone jack, but a microphone jack. That way you can plug either a shotgun mic into it, or you can get you a little DJI wireless mic and you can plug that into it if you want audio, because a lot of times onboard microphones on these cameras are not the best. So you need to look into that. And we're going to get to kind of what I shoot with. So long story short, I started off with a Canon Vixia something 90, I think it was. And it did the job. I enjoyed using it. I mean, that's what some of my first hunts were recorded on. It, like I said, it did the job. Moving up back in, what, when was that? The Uncle Joe sent us the stimulus check. What was that, in 2020, I think it was 2020, or yeah, it was 2020. Fall of 2020, I bought myself my first mirrorless camera. I found a Sony A7 III for pretty reasonable. It was used. Got a Tamron 28 to 200 lens with it, and that's what I was using for the first little bit when I really started recording my hunts. You can actually see a quality change between the cameras if you pay attention. Like season 1, you can see, or I think it might have been season 2 when I got the new camera. You can see when I went from the old camera to the new camera, and that was shooting 4K, 24 frames a second. There was no slow motion, nothing. It just, the quality increased with the amount of pixels I had there. So I had that camera for a while, and then I actually started shooting some weddings with it. So then I took and saved me up some money, and in order to further the business, I then purchased a Sony a7S III, which if anybody knows anything about cameras, that's an expensive camera. But like I said, weddings paid for it. That's kind of my bread and butter camera. That's the one I go to. I actually have it right here behind me. This is what I use now to record my hunts. And I still have that same Tamron 28 to 200 lens, and my microphone just fell off. It wasn't secured on there as well as I thought it was. This is what I run currently to film my hunts. Sony a7S III with Tamron 28 to 200 lens. On the low end, it's a 2.8. On the high end, it's 5.6, which that's the aperture size. So 2.8, it's like a shotgun shell. The lower your number, the bigger the diameter. The higher the number, the smaller your diameter when it comes to your aperture. I really enjoy this camera. It's only 12 megapixels, which if people are megapixel snobs, you need to think twice about it, because with this having only 12 megapixels, it means those megapixels are massive on a full frame sensor. And that's one thing I didn't mention. You got your APS-C and your full frames. And this is a full frame sensor. So here, I'll take it off. You might be able to see. Maybe, but anyway, you kind of see that sensor in there. It is a lot bigger than what's on your cell phone. It just lets all that light in there, which is really nice, especially low light conditions. That buck I shot on opening day a couple years back, it was really low light. It was still legal light, but it was very low camera light, and I was able to actually capture it on there. Now, granted, the ISO was like 400,000, so it was astronomical, but I still got the footage. Long story short, that was my only day to seal the deal, and I was going to make it happen regardless. That's what I run personally. And like I said, you do not have to go out and spend $4,000 on a camera. That it pays for itself pretty much if you use it to shoot weddings, or at least like in my case. If you're starting from scratch, like I said, if you're starting from scratch, use your phone. There's nothing wrong with using your phone. Like I said, they have extremely good quality, especially in good lighting. You will get very, very good videos from that. But if you want to step away from it, from not using your phone, go get you a little handy cam. And if you don't want to break the bank, get you a little handy cam. They work great. If you're just looking for something to record a hunt, record family get-togethers, go get you a little handy cam. And if you kind of want to step it up a little bit, go get you that more professional camcorder, excuse me. Once you get your camcorder, those are great, kind of intermediate, I reckon you could say. But a lot of professionals still use old camcorders. To me, they're more versatile when it comes to filming hunts, especially out of a tree stand or with a tree arm, because you can get like a remote for them that you can run on the handle of your fluid head or video head, whatever you're running. You can get your remote for that, and that's one nice thing about camcorder is you hit your zoom and record all on one hand. You're not having to do like dual hand operation, which a lot of times you run into with a mirrorless camera or a DSLR or anything like that. Now, if you're wanting to get into professional quality, look into mirrorless. Some DSLRs are still used. A lot of your Canons, a lot of the higher end Canons are still used. Right now, I've seen a shift going from DSLR style or mirrored cameras to more mirrorless cameras, just because the quality that the mirrorless is able to put out. You have even your cinema cameras, which especially a lot of your high-end camera or high-end outdoor shows are really starting to put out. They use RED cameras. They use Sony FX6s, FX5s. Let's see, what's the Canon one that they just came out with a couple years ago? The Canon R5C or something, I think. But you got Sony FX3s, Sony FX30s. I mean, there's so many different cameras out there. I can just keep going on and on about different ones that you can look into. But as far as price range goes, like I said, you got your lower end with the Handycams. You got your GoPros, which are about, if you get the newest GoPro, you're looking about $400 or $500 out of the door by the time you get all the accessories and stuff like that. And then you have your camcorders, $1,500-$1,500. But I will say there are some good mirrorless cameras on the market right now for about $1,700. So if you're looking for a decent one, go look at the Sony FX30. It's an APS-C sensor. It's only about $1,700. You can find them used sometimes, but it's kind of it's based off their FX3, which is a cinema camera. It has all the same features, just a smaller sensor, and you can get lenses for it. APS-C lenses are a lot cheaper than full-frame lenses, so go check that out if you're looking for one for just the body is about $1,700, but you add lenses, you're going to be looking at about $2,500 probably, if you're looking in the $2,500 range. Now, if you're looking at $3,000-$4,000 plus, I personally prefer the Sony a7S III. I've got a Sony a7 IV that I run. That's actually where I'm recording this on right now. It's my Sony a7 IV. Both of them are really good cameras. A7 IV runs about $2,400, $2,500. The a7S III runs about $3,500, roughly $3,700, just depending on where you can get it. And sometimes you can catch one on sale. I sometimes recommend buying used. Good cameras don't always get abused because people pay so much money for them, they're not going to trash them. And you can find a decent used camera for not a whole lot of money. And same thing for some of those camcorders and stuff. Some of the more professionals, go on, I prefer B&H. Go look on B&H in their used section, and sometimes you can find really good deals for a used camera that might have just some scuffs and stuff on the outside of them. Go check those out. Used, don't be afraid to buy used. Don't be afraid to buy used. A lot of my stuff is used, and it has worked phenomenal. Okay, so if you do happen to go the mirrorless route or the DSLR, you're going to have to look at lenses. And you can spend as little or as much as you want to on the lens. You can spend a few $100 or you can spend a few thousand. It just depends on what you're looking for. I got a Sigma lens and I have a Tamron lens. And like I said, the Tamron 28-200, if you're looking for a good whitetail hunting lens that is good for close range and some intermediate, like if you're bow hunting, this is the perfect lens for it. The only thing is the low light capabilities when you're zoomed in kind of diminish just because your aperture gets smaller. But as far as good daylight, it's the best lens I've ever come across. And to me, the best thing about it is the price point for what you get. You can get about, I think they're about $699. That's about what I paid for it, $699 4 years ago. They might be a little bit more with inflation, but they're right there about $699, $750. And if you're looking for more of a wide angle lens, go that route. But for me, I want something that can kind of go wide angle on into the telephoto lens. So it shoots wide, and then you can zoom in, and you got 200 millimeters of zoom, so to speak. And this does perfect for what I need. It's not super heavy. It's pretty light and compact. It weighs probably about 3 or 4 pounds altogether. One thing I mentioned was microphones. If you do look into something like this, a lot of your camcorders do have microphone jacks, and you need to look into getting you a good microphone. Good quality microphones go a long ways, especially if you want to hear like some conversation that you might be having between you and your cameraman or you and your son or anything like that. This is the Rode Video Mic 2. No, Video Mic Pro, excuse me. They have a Pro 2. This is the original. It's done very well over the years. It's taken the beating. It's powered by a 9-volt battery, and it just plugs right into the side of the camera. And it catches good audio, especially when you're hunting. For like my lapel mics and stuff like that, I run a DJI mic. It's the original wireless mic that they have. You can get those for dirt cheap just about now. They come out with a mini, and it's like $170. So I mean, you can go out and spend couple $100, get you a good microphone. Tree arms, that's something that you're going to be looking into if you're hunting from a tree stand. My recommendation is don't buy the muddy tree arms. Don't. They suck. They're heavy, bulky. They make noise. Don't buy them. If you're going to buy a tree arm, spend a little extra money. Go get you a 4th arrow. You won't regret it. Trust me. That's what I run, and I have not regretted it at all. They're a little expensive on the front end, but when you get past that little bit of an expense, it is night and day difference. I had the Muddy, Muddy Pro, or the big one. It's got the big triangle base, and it got the crank on it. It did what I needed it to for the time, but then when you're packing in the base that weighs 5 pounds and then the arm that weighs another 2 pounds, it just adds on unnecessary weight. When the whole rig with just the 4th arrow is about 4 pounds, 3-4 pounds. I mean, it's night and day difference, and a lot more sturdy too. So spend the money, go look at 4th arrow. You can get anything from one that hold a cell phone up until your big cinema cameras. So I mean, they have a very good variety of what you need. I even have like a little one that's geared for saddle hunting. I mean, it's not that, it packs down like that big and just folds out, stick on a tree, put your arm on it, and go to town and do what you gotta do. Something you should look into is a good quality camera arm. I think Lone Wolf makes some. I'm pretty sure Lone Wolf makes some. They're pretty decent. I haven't personally ran one, but I know Lone Wolf does make good quality products. I'm trying to think. There are a few other on-end folks out there that make a decent little camera arm. But like I said, if you're going to spend the money, get you a good one. And make sure you have a decent video head. That makes sure you have good smooth footage. It's not jerky as you're trying to move it around or anything. Look into a good tripod, because a lot of people hunt from ground blinds, box stands. You need a good tripod. I've got a carbon fiber one. Okay, so what I have here is the ArcSight CT80C. It is carbon fiber tripod, weighs about 3 pounds. I don't have my video head on here just because I've been taking some pictures and stuff with it. It's got a really nice ball head on it, so you can just flip it. It's not a video head by any means. It's just, this is more geared towards pictures. I have a Arca Swiss rail on my AR, so I can strap my AR in there as well, and use it for hog hunting, whatever. And it's got just a little roller or twist locks. I haven't had any issues with it. A lot lighter, a lot less noisy than like an aluminum tripod. I had a old cheap aluminum tripod that I got from my dad a long time ago, and it's noisy. It clanks metal, whereas carbon fiber is almost deadening. I mean, that's me hitting it right there. I mean, it deadens noise, which is really nice, especially if you're clanking around a metal deer stand or something like that. But look into a good tripod. This one cost me, I think, like $230 on Amazon. Go find you one. You can find them. You can find good carbon fiber tripods for relatively cheap, and they will do exactly what you need them to do. Tacticams. How many of you run a Tacticam? Tacticams are okay for what they're designed for. I haven't really fallen in love with them, I guess you could say. I shot one deer with it, and I mean, y'all saw the footage from last year. It was the doe I shot with my bow. It's like October something last year. It worked because I couldn't get my rifle or my main camera around on the deer. But if you're trying to get good quality footage, I wouldn't recommend a Tacticam. They don't have the in-body stabilization that they need. They're jittery. I just don't recommend a Tacticam. They work if you need them to, but like I said, I don't recommend them if you got to use one. What other ones? You got like Shot Cam, which Shot Cam is actually really nice, but they are expensive. So most people aren't really looking for a Shot Cam that's $600 or $700, I think is what they are, just to record your shot. Now, if you got that kind of money, by all means, go ahead. Our shot cam, if y'all see this, y'all want to send us a product for testing, we'll be glad to test it out. But sorry, I can't afford your stuff. All right, I think that's about going to wrap us up for the day. I just wanted to kind of get together with y'all, put out just extremely basic information about cameras, kind of a little bit of my knowledge. I don't have a lot of knowledge when it comes to it, but I have enough to be dangerous. And if y'all have any questions when it comes to cameras, y'all reach out to me. I also know I've used them before, but Bedford Outdoors and camera gear, contact them. They have an outdoor division, and that's all they specialize in, is selling camera gear to the outdoorsmen. Film the Hunt uses them. Go check them out. Austin over there, Austin Pittman. He's helped me out multiple times. Their quality, or their customer service is awesome. Just ask them, hey, I need this. I'm looking for this. Here's my price range. What can we do? And they will sit down and they'll figure out something that works for you. It's a little shameless plug for Bedford's camera out in Arkansas. So if you're ever in Arkansas, check them out, or go check them out online. I think that's about it. Make sure you got you some good memory cards, some that has a decent amount of storage that you can record your hunts on, because you do not want to run out of storage while you're sitting in a tree stand the buck of a lifetime walks in. Other than that, I think that's about all that I have today. I'm going to try to be putting together some I guess you could call it gear prep for deer season. Archery season about to be right around the corner. We've got a little bit, let's see, it's almost into July. When it hits, it's going to be July, almost probably about 30th or 29th, 30th. But and we're talking 45 days till archery season opens. And if you haven't gotten out, start shooting your bow. Get out, warm up strings. If you need to replace your strings, do it now. Don't wait till the last week. I know archery shops hate that. Make sure you're tuned up. Got your broadheads flying true. Aim small, miss small. We're looking forward to getting out in the field this year. It's going to be an interesting one, considering we're probably going to start digging peanuts first week of September. So be digging peanuts before we even have deer season. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to get out there and be able to put some deer on the ground, but we'll see. God knows what's going to happen. Until the next episode, which hopefully we'll have something here before too long to be putting together, we'll catch you then. I'll see y'all.